Hey everyone, Ashley here, and today I'm going to be giving you a review of Half Bad by Sally Green. In my March wrap-up, I mentioned that if you wanted me to do a review of any of the books I read in March, to comment and let me know, and a lot of you mentioned wanting to see me do a review of this book, so I'm going to be doing that today. That being said, I did look back and realize that I haven't done like book reviews in a really long time, like an actual book review. I think the last one I did was Cinder, which was a while ago. So if you have seen me mention a book in the past that you really want to see me fully talk about in a review, comment below and let me know in this video, because I'm going to be filming quite a few this week. I don't know when they're all going to get posted, but I'm going to try to film them as soon as possible. So yeah, but for now, let's review Half Bad by Sally Green. So for those of you who don't know, Half Bad is about a boy named Nathan who lives in the UK, and in this world in the UK, witches exist. They live among regular people, they go to school with regular people, they do regular people things, but when they turn 17, they get 3 gifts. And these 3 gifts will end up giving them their own personal witch power. So it's not like you develop whatever power you want, it's like you are naturally born with a specific witch power that you will get when you turn 17, and then you will advance that specific power. However, Nathan has a mom who is a white witch and a dad who is a black witch. This is kind of weird because black witches and white witches do not get along, seeing as black witches are the bad witches and white witches are the good witches. But Nathan is half and half, and for this reason he is outcasted by the black witches and completely outcasted by the white witches. So it's kind of his story about being completely an outsider in this world where people have magical powers, and yeah, pretty much that. That's all I can really say without giving a lot away. I gave Half Bad 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think on Goodreads I gave it a 4 out of 5, but it was a 4.5 out of 5. I liked almost everything about this book. There were very few things that I had a problem with, but I will talk to you about all of the things that I loved and all of the things that I kind of thought could have been better in this book. So we will start with writing style and narration. I loved the way that Sally Green decided to do this book. The narration was super quirky and super weird, and I love that kind of stuff in a book. I know that not everyone does. I know that some people really hate quirky narrated books, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But personally, I love books with super weird, quirky narrators that actually write the book in a super weird, quirky way. I just find it more unique and different, and I really like books like that, so I absolutely love the way that this book was written. That being said, I do understand why some people don't love the beginning, because in the first like 60 pages, you don't know what the hell's happening. You're like, what time period am I in? How old is Nathan? What's happening? What? You're jumping to this and that and this and that, and then I was like, oh my goodness, it's like he's telling you a story, actually, in real life. Because if you went through what Nathan went through, and then you were trying to express that to another person, you would jump back and forth, because that's how you would naturally tell the story, because you'd be saying something and then you'd be like, oh, you don't know that part of my life, so here's that little tidbit of information about my life that you need to know for me to continue this story. So I really liked that. That being said, I do understand why that's confusing, and that's kind of also why it got the 0.5 off, because it was a bit confusing, but ultimately I really liked that. Let's move on to Nathan as a character. I really like that he's kind of gray. You don't know if he's good or if he's bad, but you feel bad for him. You want him to have a wonderful life. But then he goes around saying things and you're like, do I want you to progress, or will you do bad things? Why don't I know how I feel about you? And then he's adorable and you're like, oh my god, I love you. Can you please just get a happy ending? And then you're like, but what is happening? What? Who's bad? Who's good? Who's bad? Who's good? And I love books like that, where you don't know who's good or who's bad or who's right or who's wrong, because real life is like that. You never really know who's right or who's wrong or who's good or who's bad. So I really liked that about this book. I will also talk about the pace of the novel. I am a fan of contemporaries, and when you're a fan of contemporaries, you don't mind when a book is kind of slow paced or really does a lot to develop the world and the setting and very much the characters. And in a book where you develop the characters very well, the pace of the book seems to be slow. It doesn't mean it's actually slow, it just kind of seems that way to a reader. So I've heard a lot of people mention that the reason they didn't love Half Bad as much as I did was because it was kind of a slow-paced novel. That's kind of why I did love it. I liked that they really developed Nathan and all of his siblings and all of his friends and all the people around him, because that was necessary to the plot. And I think it's going to be extremely necessary in the second and third books in this series, because without that, you wouldn't have loved the characters that I'm going to assume don't all survive, because not everyone survives in series. And I'm not saying that anything happens in this book, I'm just saying that for the most part, in series of books, especially in the teen section, people die. And for you to care about those people, they have to be developed. So I'm kind of glad that the author took the first half of the first book and did it very slow and well paced, and I just really liked it. Okay, so let's get to the 0.5 part that I didn't love so much as to why the book did not get a 5 out of 5. And that is because I found the author in the last half of the book, last third of the book, just everything was thrown at you at once. And I will talk about why I liked this and why I didn't like it kind of all at once. So the reason I didn't like it was because the whole pace of the book was so slow for the whole book pretty much until the end, that I really got used to that pace and liked that pace, and then all of a sudden the author was like boom, 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 all of this stuff is happening. And you were like, oh my god, I need to process time. I need time to process what's happening before another thing happens. But that didn't happen. You kind of just like got thrown at, all these characters got thrown at you, and all these plot lines got thrown at you, and all of these things got thrown at you that were very vital to the plot, but you didn't have time to really process them before you had to process the next thing. And that being said, that was a reason I didn't super love it, but that's also a reason I did super love it. I don't know. I'm very mixed emotions about this book. I liked that they did that because it was real life, and I found that what the author really did in this book was she made it seem like it was real life. Like, this could actually be happening, because the way that the story was told as if Nathan was sitting in front of you telling you a freaking story. And then at the end of the book, when everything was happening at once, that's how it would have felt to Nathan. It happened in a very short period of time, well, kind of short period of time, and he would have felt like everything was being thrown in his face. So when he tells the story, he makes it seem like everything's being thrown in your face, because that's how it felt to him. And I just really liked that, but also really didn't. So that's why it's 0.5 off, I guess. I hope that that sums up my feelings about Half Bad pretty well for all of you. I know that I was probably really like blah in this video, because I actually am kind of like that with my feelings for this book. But I hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to see any other reviews, comment below and let me know. And if you liked this review, give it an awesome thumbs up, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!